A new apex predator is lurking in the dark waters. The first of the Columbia-class submarines has finally been analyzed, and the results are terrifying for our rivals. Most people think a submarine's power comes from its missiles. They are wrong. Its true power is the silence. This ship is a phantom that can sit off a coastline for months without being found. It carries a payload that can hit over 100 targets in minutes.
Will carry over 2/3 of the United States' strategic nuclear deterrent.
The crazy part is that this $18 billion ghost will never need to come home for fuel for 4 decades. Silent Titan of the Atlantic. Everything changed when the first sections of the new Columbia-class submarine were joined together. It is a project so large that it requires 2 of the most famous shipyards in the country to work as one. General Dynamics Electric Boat and Newport News Shipbuilding are piecing together a machine that is 560 feet long. To put that in perspective, that is nearly 2 football fields of high-strength steel. It weighs over 20,000 tons. This makes it the largest submarine the United States has ever attempted to build. But the size is not what is keeping military experts awake at night. It is the fact that a machine this big can be so quiet, it defies logic. The heart of this Titan is the S-1B nuclear reactor. This is a massive leap in engineering. In the older Ohio-class submarines, the ships had to be taken out of service for years to have their reactors refueled. This was a slow and expensive process that left a hole in the nation's defense. The Columbia-class fixes this forever. Its reactor is designed to last for the entire service life of the ship. We are talking about 42 years of constant power without ever needing a single drop of new fuel. This single detail saves the Navy $40 billion across the fleet and keeps the ships in the water where they belong. But here is the catch. The way this power is used is the real secret. Older submarines used loud steam turbines connected to massive reduction gears to turn the propeller. Those gears clanked and vibrated, creating a sound that enemy sonar could track. The Columbia-class has no gears. It uses a full electric drive system. The nuclear reactor creates steam to turn a generator, which makes electricity. That electricity powers a huge electric motor that turns the pump jet propeller. Without those gears, the submarine loses its mechanical fingerprint. It no longer sounds like a machine. To an enemy listener, it sounds like the background noise of the ocean itself. This makes it an acoustic black hole. The payload is just as terrifying as the stealth. Under the deck, there are 16 massive launch tubes. Each one holds a Trident 2D5 LE missile. These are life-extended weapons with a range of over 7,000 miles. One submarine hiding silently in the deep can strike over 100 different targets with pinpoint accuracy in less than 30 minutes. The Navy actually reduced the number of missiles from 24 on the old ships to 16 on these new ones. They realized that 16 is more than enough to act as a total deterrent. By having fewer tubes, they made the ship more efficient and much quieter. This is a ship built to disappear for 90 days at a time. It vanishes from the face of the earth, waiting for a command that everyone hopes never comes. It is the ultimate insurance policy for the nation. Experts are calling this a logic-defying machine because it solves the oldest problem in submarine warfare. Usually, if you want more power and more weapons, you have to be louder. But the Columbia is bigger, more powerful, and yet it is the quietest ship ever put in the water. Rivals are spending billions on sonar nets in places like the South China Sea, but they are looking for a ghost. This ship ensures that no matter what happens on the surface, the United States always has the last word from the dark. Advanced Robotic Deep-Sea Assassin. While the Columbia-class is the silent guardian, the Navy is also building its most dangerous assassin. This is the SSNX, the next-generation attack submarine. If the Columbia is the shield, the SSNX is the spear. It is being designed specifically to find and eliminate the most advanced enemy ships in the world. To understand why this is so revolutionary, you have to look at the current king of the hill, the Virginia-class. These ships are the workhorses of the fleet, measuring 377 feet long. They are already incredible machines, but the SSNX is going to take things to a level we have never seen. The Virginia class introduced the world to the photonics mast. For over 100 years, submarines used periscopes that were long tubes of glass and mirrors. They had to poke through the hull, which meant the control room had to be stuck at the top of the ship. The Virginia class changed that by using high-tech cameras and fiber optic cables. This allowed the engineers to move the control room down 2 decks into a much larger space. The crew no longer looks through a tiny straw. They watch a giant widescreen display that shows high-definition and infrared images. This move also made the hull stronger and the command center safer. But the SSNX is moving beyond just better cameras. It is being designed as a deep-sea mothership. This is where the future of underwater war gets really wild. Imagine a submarine that sits 100 miles away from an enemy fleet. It is completely silent and hidden. Instead of firing a torpedo and giving away its position, it opens a payload bay and launches a swarm of 50 unmanned underwater vehicles. These are robot drones that act as the submarine's eyes and ears. Some are scouts that just listen. Others are decoys designed to trick the enemy. The most dangerous ones are loitering drones that carry their own weapons. This is when an enemy just sits and listens for the tiniest mechanical noise. American engineers have perfected the science of silence through a process called rafted machinery. Inside the submarine, the engine, the reactor, and every loud pump are not actually touching the outer hull. They are built onto a massive internal steel raft. This raft is then suspended by giant shock absorbers and acoustic dampeners. Any vibration from the machines is caught by the raft and never reaches the water. It is like having a house that floats inside another house. Then there is the pump jet propulsor. Old propellers created tiny bubbles in the water called cavitation. Those bubbles would pop and create a distinct humming sound that sonar could identify from miles away. The pump jet hides the blades inside a giant shroud. This smooths out the water flow and stops those bubbles from ever forming. The result is a silent stream of water that pushes the sub forward without a sound. It allows the ship to move much faster while remaining totally invisible to those listening. One of the most overlooked aspects is magnetic signature cancellation. A massive steel ship usually disrupts the natural magnetic field of the Earth. Specialized planes can fly over the water and detect this change. To stop this, the new submarines are wrapped in a system that resets their magnetic signature. They blend in perfectly with the Earth's own magnetic pull. Even if a plane flies directly over them, the sensors see nothing but normal ocean. They also use the ocean itself to hide. The water is not the same temperature everywhere. There are layers of cold and warm water that act like mirrors for sound. A smart commander can dive just below a thermal layer. When an enemy ship pings from above, the sound hits that layer and bounces away. The submarine is effectively hidden under a roof of water. This combination of tiles, rafts, silent propellers, and magnetic tricks creates a machine that is nearly impossible to find. It is a level of stealth that many believed was physically impossible for a ship of this size. Foundations of modern stealth. This incredible technology did not appear from nowhere. It was built on the lessons of a secret war that lasted for decades. Before the Columbia, there was the Los Angeles class. These were the ships that defined the Cold War. 62 of them were built, and they were the first true high-speed hunters. At 362 feet long, they were designed to track Soviet submarines through the dark waters of the Arctic. This was a game of cat and mouse where the stakes were the survival of the world. The sailors of the Los Angeles class became experts in a maneuver called the baffles check. A submarine has a blind spot directly behind its propeller where its own noise blocks its hearing. Soviet captains would often perform a sharp turn to see if anyone was following them in that blind spot. This was known as a crazy Ivan. The American subs following behind had only seconds to react. They had to dive deep or stop all engines instantly. One loud sound would give them away and end the mission. Those years of intense underwater tracking taught the Navy exactly what kind of noises were the most dangerous. The Navy then tried to build the ultimate hunter called the Seawolf class. It was a monster. It was faster and more heavily armed than anything else in history. It could carry 50 torpedoes and go faster than 35 knots. But there was a massive problem. Each Seawolf cost over $3 billion in the early 1990s. With the Cold War ending, the government could not justify the price. Only 3 were ever built. The Seawolf was canceled, but its technology survived. The Virginia class was born from that failure.